2,000 years ago, the ancient Mediterranean slept. The people living along these shores were unaware that they were standing on a planetary staging ground. For centuries, human history was defined by fragmentation. Tribes and early cities lived in relative isolation, hemmed in by natural barriers and the constant local struggle to survive. While these cultures focused on their own borders, a higher universal order was already assessing the world's progress, evaluating the specific era for a planned intervention. This region was not the center of the world by chance. It was the theater chosen for a universal broadcast. By the 1st century, the Roman Empire had achieved a level of unification previously thought impossible, bringing disparate nations under a single code of law. To see the scale of this preparation, look at the physical reality of the Roman roads. These were not mere paths. They were engineered stone arteries that cut through the wilderness to connect the entire known world. This Pax Romana effectively removed the hostile borders that historically blocked the movement of people and the transmission of ideas. This physical network served a purpose far larger than commerce or military transport. It was the essential hardware for a spiritual invasion. Rapid, unimpeded travel across a continent is the absolute prerequisite for a planetary message to spread before it can be suppressed or distorted. While the Romans believed they were building an empire for their own glory, they were unwittingly constructing the physical avenues required for a cosmic event. Shifting to the Levant in the Eastern Mediterranean, we find a different kind of preparation, a dense melting pot of competing cultures and beliefs. The world was spiritually exhausted. These moss-covered ruins represent the state of the era, a landscape littered with decaying philosophies and ancient ghost cults that could no longer provide answers. Fragmented, localized myths are insufficient to anchor a universal revelation. Without a common foundation, any new message would be lost in the chaos. A new spiritual transmission requires a pre-existing ideological framework, a shared concept that can act as a receiver for higher truths. Even the most advanced road network in the West is useless if it does not lead to a receptive ideological destination in the East. Amidst the ideological noise of the Levant, one group remained focused on a single clear theological concept: the Jewish people. Their history was a cycle of tribulation, suffering under the weight of successive empires and enduring long periods of exile. Through it all, they stubbornly preserved one specific truth: the existence of a single universal Father. This monotheistic foundation was the precise theological prerequisite needed to support the arrival of a universal messenger. This was the engineered spiritual cradle, prepared over centuries to receive the arrival of the Son. To understand the scale of this orchestration, we have to look past the human records to a viewpoint just above the material realm. There are invisible observers of our history, known as secondary Midwayers, beings who exist between the material and spiritual worlds. These beings lived alongside humanity throughout this era, acting as silent recorders of the events we now call history. They witnessed a degree of coordination that linked distant political shifts back to a single source of authority: the universe headquarters on Salvington. What humanity recorded as a series of random cultural developments was actually a meticulously synchronized calculus. Here, the physical vector of Roman infrastructure and the spiritual vector of the Levant were brought into a perfect collision. At this exact intersection, the Creator's Son, Michael of Nebadon, arrived on our world. This was his bestowal, a mission to personally experience the life of his lowest evolutionary creatures. The staging was complete. The world remained in darkness, entirely unaware that the cosmic preparation had reached its climax. This is the documented history of our world, the cosmic reality of your existence.